All right. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the February 12th, 2024 meeting of the Open Space Committee. So we need to start with a notice of recording. This meeting of the Open Space Committee is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel in accordance with MGL Chapter 30A, subsection 20. I must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make their presence known. Seeing none, we'll continue. I'd like to introduce our members. I'm Ann Kennedy, I'm the chair. And we'll start with our vice chair.
Farley Lewis, Hyannisport.
Doug Payson, Barnstable Village.
Chris Clark, Town Council Liaison.
Thank you.
Alicia Messier, GIS Coordinator.
Thank you.
Frank Marola, President, Cape Cod NEMBA.
Kate Gulliver, Hyannis.
Lev Malakoff, Centerville.
Jenna Zeno, Administrative Assistant.
Thank you. So NEMBA is the New England Mountain Biking Association.
Correct.
Yeah. So let's begin with the approval of minutes. We have two to approve, so let's do it one at a time. Has everybody had an opportunity to look at the minutes of December 11th, 2023?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any discussion or revisions or corrections of those minutes? Okay, could I have a motion to approve?
I move to accept.
And a second?
Second.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. All right, so the second set is January 8th, 2024 minutes. Has everybody had an opportunity to look at those minutes? And any revisions, corrections, additions? Okay, so may I have a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So thank you for a job well done. I don't have to do too much correction when I get my girls' minutes. Okay, so we have new business tonight. We have a mapping update from Alicia Messier, which I'm very pleased to have you here, and thank you for all the work you have done on this. It's a work in progress, I realize, but it's gotten quite far along, and we are very appreciative of the work you have done.
It is
So the
definitely a
floor is
draft.
yours.
Do you happen to have the link to the computer screen? It's really the only one.
I don't know, would you like to sit up here? Would it be easier for you to sit up here closer to the screen?
No, I just didn't know if you were actually going to put it in there. Do you have a T drive? Yes. Can I jump into the T drive?
Here, I'll give you the mouse.
I went with,
It's over my head, so whatever you're doing.
oh, it's just regular, it's just the T.
Look at you.
I didn't see it in the, just so used to doing a Control-C, Control-V.
Oh, wow.
So kind of what you guys were looking for with regards to a walking library, that could be,
Yeah, you'll let me do that. That doesn't help amplify here, it just goes into the TV.
yes. I just happen to have a loud voice. So,
Good, because I can't hear a thing. Oh, that's good.
so this is still a draft. It's a work in progress. It's something that's you guys were talking about with regards to being able to do filtering for your walking library. I don't have those trails, the new ones that you had listed. If there are any additional,
That's fine.
I mean, we can get there. But this was just kind of, as I said, a draft. Anything's changeable on it. So it opens up. This is built with Esri's Experience Builder. So this opens up automatically. It's built for a desktop, a tablet, and a cell phone. So this will show up automatically. One of the things I'm working on is having a link to instructions, because it's not some of Esri's stuff isn't always very intuitive. So people that use maps all the time can use that.
Oh, okay.
But okay, so if you click off of it, right now I have some of your layers. I have some of the general trails. But in the grand scheme of things for desktop, all it is a click of a button at this point. So it filters to, these are what you have is easy. You can actually add to it if you want to. These are easy and easy to moderate. I can uncheck this. If you click on it, it zooms you in, brings you to the trail, and then if you have it on your cell phone, and I can show you that too. There's a live view of it. I can log in and show it to you. It actually allows you to find the location, so you can click on your cell phone and there's a little crosshair and it'll drop a point. One of the things I'm working on is so that it will follow you, but some of the cell phone functionality for this specific application, it's one of Esri's newer products, so they're still building in some of the cell phone functionality.
Is there an existing app that people can?
This is a web-based thing. So it's not actually like something that you would get from like a Google Play or like an
Store.
no. So this is an internet link. It would be an internet link that would live potentially on your website, so someone could, or wherever you would want to put it. So again, this is a draft. So there still needs to be feedback from all of you with regards to coloration, what you want to see in here. All of this stuff is customizable. One of the things that I was going around and seeing is most of our stuff is in West Barnstable. So,
Yeah, we have concentration in one area.
yeah, so this is one of the areas I was trying to work out because you guys have walking trails on top of walking trails in your library. So unless you filter and then click on it, it kind of, it ends up being like a lot. It's not just a simple trail where it's like go wherever you want, because you guys actually have called out trails. So
What are the different colors? Red is the main trail.
yeah, these are, so I wanted to make sure the Cape Cod pathways, since it was one of your charges, I wanted to make sure the Cape Cod pathways is on here for right now. If you guys want to take it off, we can take it off. But it definitely makes it more interesting to try to keep that on there, as well as show the loop trail that you're trying to see at the same time. So right now I have, like this one is it keeps the red dash, but in between it's got green. But, and all of this information that you see in here is all pulled from the library that you guys had built previous. So if I go into,
It's fun to know that Barrel Hill is 134 feet above sea level.
let's see if I can log in to show
See,
you.
right?
Oh, sorry.
You can see it, right? Where the water tank is.
Yeah. So this map is being served on ArcGIS Online, and this is a base map that they have. So that's where that information is coming from. So let's see if this wants to. I can sign in and kind of show you. I can't copy and paste that. I wasn't going to put my username and password in there. See if I can do it. No, of course I can't do it.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Oh,
That's what I usually get.
it's using. Come on. Are you come?
Pretty soon they're gonna kick you out.
Yeah. Should see how many passwords I have to keep track of. And this is just an iceberg
That's
tip.
ridiculous.
I need a book like I have. I want to tell you what the title of.
Oh, I have a book. No, that's supposed to be, that's what it's supposed to be. I wrote it down just in case.
You find it?
I did. Yeah, it's just being challenged today. Well, if anybody, did anybody get the app
No.
Not-
emailed to them? Well, it does technically function on,
Is it on the town's website?
no, because it's still
No.
a draft. So,
Because I have that app, the My Barnstable app.
I sent it to you.
Recently?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I just turned my thing off.
Well, not recently, it was part of this is a work in progress, it's a draft, and then you said, oh, this is great, can you be on the next meeting?
Wow, that's as far as.
So if you by chance,
Wait a minute, I'm gonna try to get back.
this is what it looks like on a tablet, so it's just interesting that you can do a tablet version on your desktop. So if you do the Windows slide over,
Okay.
and you snap it to one, like this is what it would look like on a tablet. So each one of these is built a little bit different. You can tell that this looks different than when I had it fully expanded. So again, the crosshairs are on here, so if you had your tablet, you should be able to find your location, same thing. And you can filter it, see the filters look a little bit different here. So this is a toggle function versus a click function.
Can
So-
I just ask one quick question? Jenna, this is apparently not going on the video feed. I don't know if there's a way.
You mean for Channel 18?
What's on the screen, people can't see it.
I think David alternates between showing the committee.
Yeah, they can see it.
Okay. That's it.
All right. So I also put in here, in case you were interested, if you wanted to search for the trail, which I couldn't do until I had the keyboard. But if you wanted to be able to search for something specific, you can, I mean, it's the first one on here, but it'll bring it up.
That's your email, so. I
Yeah.
don't know where it is in the email.
It's the one that has experience, it's this one right here. So if I click on this,
Yeah.
this is what you guys can't see now. And it would bring you to this, and you can email this to everybody.
Okay.
So it brings up that window, and then as soon as you click off of it, it looks similar to the tablet, but it's a little bit different. So you can click on one of these,
Okay, sorry.
and it
people,
zooms you
but
in.
This is a tutorial part. Thank you, Al.
So I wanted to make sure that if somebody had said something like, oh, the bridge or whatever, jailhouse, you could search for the trail in here. So you can, it's just keywords. And if you clicked on it or clicked on it from here, it brings you to that. One of the things I also wanted to make sure is people have access to the PDFs.
Oh, yeah.
So if you are in an area that has horrible cell service, you have the ability to pull PDF as well.
That's great. Do we have directions to the trailheads?
Directions to the trailheads.
Where to
Like
park.
parking?
And these are all things that I'm relying on you as to what you want in here, because
Okay.
That would be good. because
it's a limited, it's like, think about it on a cell phone or it's a limited amount of space that you can put information, and you don't want to overload anybody with too much. So if you want, we don't have to put, a description here, but I can make these larger. It's just, I don't know how much information you want to stick in this space. I can make this bigger.
Well, this is the time to give you.
Well, you can take it, I mean, once it gets emailed to everybody, they have the ability to give me some feedback.
Sending it now.
I just assumed everybody had it already.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm challenged.
No worries.
I got too much stuff going on lately now.
So as I said, I tried to kind of be consistent with, and just see how it completely changed, how that whole layout is. Each layout is completely different. So as you get smaller, you have to be more cognizant of your real estate that you have. If you get to as small as a cell phone, you have less real estate. So, things to think about. Like, each one of these is, your desktop is a custom build, the tablet is a custom build, and the phone is a custom build. So whichever one that you end up looking at is going to be a little bit different, but each one of them is custom. So,
Oh, can I ask a question now?
shoot.
So specifically in the community college area, the main trail has changed its routing. And I sent you email a couple times. Actually, if you're wondering where the changes are, Jenna has a link showing them in that other browser in Chrome. You could probably click on it and see the routings there.
You want to pull it up now?
I know what the changes are. I was just looking for it to come from somebody more official than.
More official than the Open Space Committee?
Well, you weren't on the Open Space Committee when you sent it.
So I think you need me.
Yeah.
So,
Sure, I
so
see.
It's chain of command for me to make any kind of changes to stuff. I like to,
So
Okay.
I'm just saying in my email that I'm now sending to people
Okay.
is to please look at the walking library and send me your suggestions. Please, I will compile them and send them to Alicia. Don't send them directly to Alicia. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do. So I just sent you the walking library. Now I'm sending you this message. So, and I apologize that I didn't send you the walking thing before this, but
and one of the things I wasn't sure if you wanted to do was, and this is up to you guys, the easy doesn't, easy, moderate, easy, the easy to moderate and moderate to hard. We can change those colors and maybe have the trail color reflect that. Like, that's kind of where I was going with it, but I didn't want to just change a bunch of colors. And because we already have on the Cape Cod pathways, those are designated with the green, the blue, and the red. So those are like already used. So I'm leaving it up to you as to whichever. It's just hard because green is normally like easy.
That's from
Blue
skiing.
is normally, yes,
That's
but
from downhill skiing.
blue is normally, but like people can read those maps, so it just makes it more challenging to try to figure out a color combination. So I'm leaving it up to you as a collection to figure out what you want. But I'll keep the circle, the square, like, so it kind of has, yes. And one of the other things I know that you guys had asked about, and I don't know how many filters, I mean, we can go crazy with filters. One of the other filters you guys were asking about was like a time filter for somebody that was potentially, so I can add that to it.
I think it's important.
I just didn't know how many filters you wanted to put in there.
Well, you have estimated trail miles, hours.
Well, I have it in here, but so for like this functionality up here, so if you,
Okay.
so if, because that was one of the main things that you guys wanted was a sortable library. That was the initial, so.
I did, strangely enough, I had somebody ask me the other day for a 2-hour hike.
Okay.
I was walking on the trail, and they said, where can I go on a 2-hour hike? Isn't that interesting? It's the first time ever.
So, because as I said, we have estimated trail miles and hours, so I can add both of them if that's what you guys think. It's just, as I said, the more stuff we have, it's just, I'm thinking about not necessarily the desktop because you have a ton of space.
Yeah, because
It's-
I'm a little teeny phone.
It's when you get on your cell phone, and you have some people that have smaller cell phones that they're not like the super big ones that are small tablets.
Also, it would be good to define the ratings for the easy to moderate to hard trails. You know, what's easy?
Level.
I mean, you guys kind of
Yeah,
came
I
up with
mean-
what was easy.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, that was what I was
Subjective.
thinking. I know AMC has a rating system for their hikes, you know, it's A, B, C, you know, D. And it all sorts out according to terrain and pace. and-
Usually elevation,
And
right?
elevation, right.
Well, I could offer as a draft of that exercise, if you were to open Trail Forks, all the trails, not all the trails, many of the trails have been rated for difficulty,
This is
more
for the
based,
mountain
more
biking.
based on mountain biking, but it's
Okay.
generally related to steepness and difficulty.
Difficulty.
So if it's hard for a mountain biker, it's probably harder for a walker too.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it would be the answer to your question, but it could be a first draft, and then you could say, oh, well, this is really intermediate.
There could be something on the National Park Service, too.
Yep,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of places to find guidelines, so, but, I mean, the Cape is sort of unique,
It's pretty flat.
pretty flat, but, you know, it does have some hills, so, you know, sometimes people come down here thinking it's flat, and it's,
Some hills.
it can go up and down, so, you know, it's a good idea to just sort of be able to sort it out a little bit, so, you know,
But
with
again,
everybody's
if the
input.
space is so limited, I mean, people kind of get what easy, moderate, difficult means.
Mm.
You know, I think you got a space consideration, and you don't have that much variation in terrain here. Maybe that's not something, I mean, if there's room, fine, but I think if it, considering space, and same
Probably
with
more important
direction.
to say which, I know there's only like, are there any mountain bike trails designated in Barnstable that are just for biking? No,
I can
Just for
answer
biking,
that
no.
question.
yeah.
There are no mountain bike trails in Barnstable. There are
Okay.
trails mountain bikers like to use.
But there aren't
The only
any that
mountain bike
says-
trails I'm aware are in Sandwich. There's a few in the Maple Swamp that they wanted to have specified for biking.
Well, if we get that sophisticated, we can have it differentiated that way too. I think at some point, we probably should designate some that are just for mountain bikes,
There-
just to keep the conflict.
And right now, you guys do have one moderate to hard, which is walking on the beach. That's what you guys
Yeah,
have
that's
That's
designated.
not good for
That's
bikes.
it, I mean, that's a good example, actually, you
Yeah.
know, even though it's flat.
Sandy Neck
it's
is a difficult
Yeah,
one, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I think, well, my apologies for not sending it out to everybody. But now that you've seen this presentation, you have an idea of what we're looking for. And I think maybe we can start thinking about it and send me some ideas. I will forward them, I will try to organize them and send them to you.
Okay.
Does that sound like a good plan?
Yes, that sounds like a good plan. And I will add, do you want hours and miles? Do you feel like that's something that's a filter that, you want both of them? I'm just asking the question to ask the question. If I'm going to do it,
I'm not, I think they're not duplicative. I think those are two different qualities that people are looking for. Do I have time to take this walk? Because I'm on lunch break.
Yep.
So, do I really want to walk 3 miles today, or do I just want to, that's the kind of,
So on the phone, how I would do it, and since we don't have a phone visible, so it would look similar to this. And I probably would add 2 more filters and move the search for trail down. So you'd have on the top just all filters. It would be something similar to that.
How were the hours and miles determined? Was it a straight relationship?
It
or
was-
Whoever gave you the information?
It was them giving me the info. I
Okay.
didn't. It was however
Walk
long.
leader.
yeah, we
just
are.
Somebody noticed. This
Yes.
took me this long.
And I think there was there was a TBD for the Crooked Cartway loop. That was one that I didn't.
Yeah, I'm
have.
not really familiar. Well, we've done that. So we've done that in our walking. in our
One
walk-
of the
we've
things
done that. Yeah,
also,
we used to do that walk. Was that the mushroom lady?
Oh, Crooked Cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did it, I've done it.
So we need to fill that out.
Okay.
I think we should have some urban walks in Hyannis also, because they were when I've led walks in Hyannis, they were some of the best attended
Yeah.
of any walks were the ones in Hyannis. So I think maybe we should map out some.
Doug, do you have your, the form that Farley has sent up in the past where it said name of walk leader?
Yeah, yes.
So just send that
Yeah,
over to.
if you,
Yeah.
if you have anything with something,
Yeah, we could come up, I want to make sure that it's all on sidewalks.
Yep.
So maybe I'll go walk it. But it really was very popular. And since the town put in the multi-use path along C Street, but they never really let anybody know that it's there. Everybody that comes from other villages is shocked that there's a multi-use path that goes from Main Street down to the beach.
Yeah. Well, also the JFK Memorial Walk.
Yeah.
Over that way too.
You can do a big loop,
Yeah.
Gosnold, C Street.
Yeah, well, that's,
Ocean,
and
Main
the
Street.
If
the
you
little
wanted to-
beaches too.
This is
You know, the,
a potential kind of way of going about all
Yeah,
this. This
that'd
is
be
oh,
good.
no, I think that,
The
it was really
trails
interesting
for
how many
Nantucket.
people love those.
Great idea.
You're getting a little bit of, you're not getting woods, but you're getting urban and beach and marsh.
Well, you think that there's 5
Yeah.
beautiful beaches in
Yeah.
Hyannis.
Yeah.
Like beautiful beaches.
Okay,
And
Doug, that's your assignment.
I will. I'll map out some routes.
I'll help you with that.
Yeah, no, we could go walk
Arlie's
it
going
and
to
then.
come up with Cartway. You're going to do Hyannis. And do you have one that you are familiar with that you want to talk about? That you want to think
Oh, I'm
about?
gonna help
That's
Doug
Kate.
with-
Yeah, we'll walk,
Did I say Ann? Yeah,
yes,
sorry.
we'll work on a couple of Hyannis ones.
Just
That's
supposed
my
to be sitting
sister's name, so I answered to that.
Oh, I know, that's like, my brother's name is David, and people call me David all the time.
Well, I won't call you David. Okay, so, all right, so I think we've got our homework.
All right, okay, so you need a crooked cartway description.
hours, how long it takes for,
Yeah, also, there's
Whatever
nothing
you guys
in
have
that,
for-
so it needs a description too.
So are how do you determine the time? I mean, everybody's
And
time
the- yeah.
is different. If they have the mileage, I mean, most people know how long it takes them to walk a mile, so do they really need to have the time? Because who is that walking that?
Well, I would like to, I mean, I am not a big walker, so if I'm only going to want to take a short walk, because I only have an hour at lunch, I'm going to look for an hour walk.
and
I'm
that, it does say,
that's
it's estimated, so
Yeah,
it
it's
could be
estimated.
different, that's why I don't say like it's a hard.
I mean, for me,
an
it might be
hour,
2
hour.
hours, but, I wouldn't take the 3-hour walk at lunch. You know?
No, right, but an hour for you might be 15 minutes for Doug, you know? I mean, for
That's
instance.
possible, but at least I have a goal.
So it's sort of like
Well, time is.
The
yeah,
slowest
time
walker.
can be very.
So I think Alicia said she put estimate, so.
Yeah, it's all,
Yeah.
that's why I didn't say it's not a hard time, it's just an
Yeah.
estimated time. I mean,
Yeah.
it could, if you've got a really long stride, it could take you 15 minutes. If you have a shorter
And if
stride,
you don't stop to look at anything.
or if you've got kids, it probably goes for like a 1 hour turns into 5 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
You have kids.
Well, Alicia's here, just one other question. I know you were getting trails mapped.
Yes.
And with, I forgot your assistant's name, who was
Chris.
out there with the.
Yes,
Right, so
he's,
has he completed the mapping?
he is still working on West Barnstable. We've got most of the other stuff completed. We'll have it, it needs to be reviewed first by conservation, and then once it gets reviewed by conservation, it'll go up here. But we've got steps that we're doing, and I won't just put it up online.
So do you have a time frame on how many more,
Chris has been out at West Barnstable for 13 full days.
yeah? So it's
It's,
getting close.
it's getting close to being mapped. It still needs to be reviewed by like once we have everything. And it's, when you GPS stuff, it's not at like a really fast pace. It's a very slow, methodical pace. There's no other way to do it.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad it's getting done, so.
No, I mean, the town hasn't had like a full baseline
No,
ever.
no, this is good. So I don't know if we were the impetus to do this or not.
Yeah.
So-
Your walking trails was the starting seed to trying to get something
Right.
all on the same level, and it just
Yeah.
takes time.
Yeah, but it needs to be done. Other towns have it done. So,
Is he also doing, but he's also doing non-Barnstable properties, like the college and the state forest, or is he staying only on town parcels?
He's doing our town properties. We don't have, we're not doing private properties. We're just in charge of the town stuff.
So none of the state land would be included?
No, I mean, if that's information that you guys want to do and collect, that's
I
fine
would
on a
think-
private side, but for the town, like, the only thing that we really have permission to go out and map is our own property.
Well, the reason I ask is because the changes to the pathways through the college,
And that's,
the state land, so it wasn't done with his device.
yeah, and that was one of the things where, like, changes to the Cape Cod pathways, I was trying to figure out who, and this is like, I wasn't here since the inception of it, 1993, a couple years ago. I've been trying to figure out who is supposed to be like the liaison for the Cape Cod pathways, and whether or not it was the committee, whether or not it was an employee for the DPW. I've talked to multiple parties, trying to figure out who that person is supposed to be, so that we can at least know, like, if there's an issue, if there's a whatever, like, who are we supposed to go to?
Okay,
Well-
and the answer is,
Still working on it.
well, one of the answers is that the Cape Cod Commission at one point started this, but it was
I've reached out to them.
Cape-wide. Yes, they
Yeah,
have
they're-
dropped, they've intentionally let that go.
Yeah.
And then at one point, they said to us, as the Land Acquisition Committee, this is yours for the town of Barnstable. So we have embraced it, and I think we will continue to be, this is one of our charges. So I would think, unless the town manager has other plans, that this is where it belongs.
Is just here and not with any department. Like, that's where I was trying to figure out, is if it ever ended up, like, I heard something about, DPW potentially could have had something at some point.
Well, I mean, I think that you've got to have a central body.
Yeah.
So I think we need to work with conservation
Yeah.
and DPW on certain issues, because like, for instance, DPW is involved in the Santuit Pond
Yeah.
Preserve, but not so much in, the village of Barnstable's Loop.
Yeah.
And conservation, well, Sandy Neck is involved with Sandy Neck, and conservation has its,
Yeah.
priorities. But, so I think if we could get the communication improved.
I have been trying.
Yeah, well, let me know when you succeed.
It's just,
because
it's doing this.
Ping pong.
Yeah, so I haven't
okay.
found that whomever it was, I know that you guys as a committee, you're appreciated with everything that you do. It's just, I'm trying to figure out if there's supposed to be a town person or a town position that was supposed to be the go-through is all.
Yeah, it might be David Anthony,
Yeah.
so we'll see.
One of the problems is that depending on the funding source for the property, different departments are responsible for different properties, and it's extremely confusing for the public. I sit on this committee, and it's confusing to me who controls what property. And I think this should be a single town employee that is responsible for all of these
Yeah.
properties. I mean, this town has made an investment of tens of millions of dollars in conservation land, and it's such a balkanized process that who knows? I mean, just the Treasure Trail, for example, that small conservation area is multiple town departments.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I think an effort was made when they had David Anthony be in charge, but I think it's too big of a job for one person. to do that and the town buildings, which he does. So you're right, I think there does need to be a conservation, a
Land.
land
A
person.
land steward,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I think they're working on that, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's other towns that have just people that are in charge of
So,
stewarding the land, and
yeah.
it makes it's an easier process as a contact.
Yeah,
I-
and their trails are marked.
And they have some, it's just, it's hard to have to do everything
So
and do the trails.
Yeah,
is that a standalone position that doesn't belong to any particular other department?
no, not right now. We don't have a person.
doesn't
I know,
exist.
but I mean, would it be, in the future, would it be?
It would probably be, I don't know, they'd make me town manager if I knew. But, maybe they should, you know, but no, where was I going? David Anthony does like buildings, so maybe it would be in that department where they would have a building person that managed the land, the
Okay.
buildings, and somebody that managed the
So it would
land.
go into a department of
Yeah.
some kind or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to.
Yeah.
Would have to be town properties department or something like that.
All right, I'm just, you know.
So Alicia and I are gonna start that department
Okay.
tomorrow.
Yes. It's begun.
So I'm gonna get you in trouble. Okay.
Thank
So does
you.
anybody have any questions for Alicia
This is a
for
good
now?
start.
Yeah.
No, this was something I know that you guys have wanted, and you know, we did our first go was that, at least something online, and as I said, I was trying to find some sort of interactive thing, so this,
I think you did a great job.
and this is where once our trails are all situated, this is kind of somewhat of a layout. I wanted something that was gonna be transferable to our trails
Yeah.
too. So your project is helping not just with the walking and getting the draft, but we're not gonna have easy, moderate to hard, and like at that, those filters aren't gonna be there, but maybe the villages, but it's gonna be the trails, like the whole town with all the trails.
Great. All right, thank
I
you.
have a question.
So, yes,
Um,
please.
So I know this is a draft, you made that clear.
Yes.
Is it on the website now?
It's not on your website now, it's just a link that is internal
Supposedly, we
to,
are going.
yeah.
The reason I ask is
So how
that,
does the public access it? They don't yet?
Not
Just-
yet,
just
no.
us?
The public would need to know, I mean, technically if they're watching, but they would need to type in all of that and that's just not something that anybody would ever want to type out.
But soon, our goal is to have this on our website. All right, so.
Yep.
We do have on the website, it looks like a spreadsheet.
Yes.
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
So that's on the website right now, and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
PDF
that's
maps.
good.
This was the first step to get something down, or something on the website.
Right, so that does show
where to park.
park.
Yes,
Yeah.
and whether or not you want to keep this up there, add to it, as I've said before, I don't manage this side of it. You have to ask web requests if you want to add a name and all the other details associated with it. Like this was something that I had to go through web requests to do a request for him to build this for you
Okay,
guys.
now, if we wanted you, like, a Crooked Cartway is filled in up there. So if Farley looked at that and said that adequately describes it, could you add that to your link?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
That looks good to me.
so we'll have to look through that and see what we think about that.
And if there were, as I said, there was the couple of trails you were talking about that you wanted to add to it, but as I said, or any of the Hyannis ones, if we wanted to create PDF maps and then do the descriptions, anything that you want on here, you need to send to web requests.
Okay, and I think you had some links. Didn't you have some links
And
that you were, didn't you send me some links? Or send Alicia some links?
I sent, yeah, I
Right, so we'll
CC'd one or
send
the other.
that, so we'll send that through this way, okay?
You'll forward it to Alicia.
Yeah.
and then it'll be
chain of
official.
command type.
It's just, it's the chain of command thing. I have to find out.
Otherwise, she's answering to 5 million.
So right now, Ann's in charge of pathways in Barnstable.
Well,
Well, right now.
I don't think I would call it official.
No, right now, the
Until somebody
sheriff.
steps up, you
That's
have
it.
to have somebody in charge.
It's not for not trying to work out what happened, because a lot of people that were in charge of it originally, they've retired, they've moved on, like, it's just what happens, and then people get busy, it's like out of sight, out of mind, like, the project's done. Like,
Yeah, because we did have an America person at one point that worked on this.
I mean, 93 was a couple years ago, and
What year? No?
no, I wasn't even thinking about this stuff.
Okay, all right. So,
Wait, Chris wasn't finished.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that if it's possible for the library to be up before our spring walks.
Oh, yeah,
Which-
this is...
that's the goal, right?
This is totally possible. Like, if you guys send me things, I will get it in the works to make changes. It's just, it's only gonna go as fast as you guys giving me feedback, and I will try to get this stuff in while I'm doing other things. I have the layout for that application, pretty much set. It's just, I need your feedback. With the colors, with what you want on it, if there's more maps that you need made, like I would need to get that into our queue to get the PDFs up there, as I said, because I feel like PDFs are important in case you don't have good signal, so people know where they're potentially going.
Okay, here's my commitment and my goal, is that our next meeting is in March, and I will have all these things sent to you by our next meeting.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you have to have anything done by our next meeting, but everything will be sent to you by our next meeting, okay? Is that fair? Do you think people can get me stuff by then?
Yes.
Yes. I would just mention one other thing is, in the future, we may want to consider other village walks that, because, for example, where I live at Barnstable Harbor, literally hundreds of people a day walk there,
Yep.
and many of them, most of them at this point, are not from Barnstable Village, because I ask. And they're coming from Hyannis or Centerville or Marston's Mills, and they're either parking at the marina or at the courthouse and walking through the neighborhoods. So it may be something we want to look at all 7 villages, is to have walks where we want to direct them rather than, wandering where there aren't sidewalks.
Yep. No,
So
no,
the-
that's
I think
a
the only
ambitious.
issue with Barnstable Village out there by Millway is Commerce Road. It's not terribly user-friendly. Commerce Road?
It has a sidewalk to my house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and that it does,
that's
no. Oh, yeah, they've taken that off the trail maps.
Yeah, okay.
That was removed, the what they call in Barnstable Village, the loop, which is
Yeah.
Main Street, Millway, Commerce Road, has been taken off the maps.
Although there is talk, and I don't know
Oh,
if
they're
it
gonna-
dropped,
it's-
that
yeah.
that they might put in sidewalks.
That'd be great.
And this is something, once you guys have this up and you have a good idea for it, it's something that you can share with the planning department, and they can push it out. So it's just another tool for the town to do PR of your committee.
Yeah, it is.
So the council president has asked councilors to report as liaisons on what's going on with their committee. So I would like to be able to say the walking library is up for public when it's ready.
Yep.
So,
And hopefully by spring. I think you guys are, hopefully by the spring walk, whatever, what is that date?
End of June, isn't it?
17th.
Oh, May.
May?
May 17th, 18th, 19th? Yeah.
That's just, it's good to know.
It's earlier than I thought.
Something to shoot for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. All right, well, you're welcome to stick around and listen to the rest of this.
You know, I feel like I've done enough for today.
No.
I have to make sure I get the snow and ice stuff situated, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. will you come by my house and make sure my generator has...
Sure. If it's associated with the server for snow and ice, yes.
Thanks. All right. So has everybody asked the, oh,
I
I'm
didn't know if we
sorry.
could switch the agenda a little bit while Frank's here.
Yes, I'm sorry,
Just to,
sure. Frank,
Because that was,
Thank
the
you.
mapping, I loved it, by the way, Alicia. It's-
Thank you.
I'm really into that.
being,
And it wasn't, I mean, I'm just working through the proper channels.
Sure.
So
I
I
do
was
have,
trying to get an answer for you before I actually even sent anything, and I haven't gotten one yet.
Okay, thanks.
okay, we're going to talk about the pathway some more. And we have a guest today, and, welcome to Frank. So you introduce yourself and tell us why you're here, and have you under Pathways update, including the NEMBA project and geocaching. Geocaching has nothing to do with him.
Frank's not a geocacher.
Okay.
Yeah, so I live in Marston's Mills. I've lived in the Cape 25 years. I'm the president of NEMBA, which stands for New England Mountain Bike Association. That's a nonprofit organization with 35-plus chapters throughout New England, 10,000 members who pay an annual membership fee to be part of it. Locally, we have 250, paid members. We do lots of, bike rides and getting people outdoors, get thousands of people outside riding bikes on trails or walking or, just getting involved. And we also, in my opinion, we do a lot of the maintenance in Barnstable. We might not get credit for it, but we keep the trails clear.
We give you credit here.
And various projects. So one of the projects that, while it's on the top of my mind, is one of our liaisons, Terry Downey, who works the Spalding Adaptive Cyclist Program, with the adaptive riders. She did receive a grant for $1,000 to install signage, which was approved by Barnstable Conservation, and we went out and put in,
Close to 30 posts, I think.
30 posts, which is close to 200 man-hours of labor putting
Wow.
in the posts with cement and hauling stuff in. And some random individual or alien from another planet decided to cut down the majority of the posts and damage them and, cause a lot of destruction. So that's been something that we've involved the Barnstable Police with and notified Calm Water Conservation. We just haven't been able to actually identify the individual, but it's been sort of a step backwards in terms of what she wanted to do, which, this walking project is great, but if there's no signs, people are like,
Yeah,
do I
really.
take a right, do I take a left? So
Yeah.
signs would be great, and that's what this project is signs. To identify.
So was this in one area or a lot of areas?
A lot of areas, yeah. I think out of the 30 posts that were installed, 25 were
It's in West Barnstable.
All in one trail area?
largely in the Danforth
In
area.
the southern half of the property, southwestern, are the more gentle trails, the less steep, that are very appropriate for people who are on the adaptive
Yep.
program and beginners.
Yep.
And so they were, near the Crooked Cartway parking lot,
Okay.
which is where we think the person starts their day with their saw and then goes into the parcel and then
So have you gotten any sense from dealing with people on the trails that there's a reason for that?
We don't know. We do. There was a confrontation with Terry and an individual. I won't mention names, but this person accused her of, you're not supposed to be doing this. We don't like these signs. This isn't appropriate. But we don't have the proof where they've actually, caught the person on camera. But I've seen the posts, and they're obviously using like a battery sawzall, just cutting them clean. And we have talked to Craig Crocker from Calm Water, because some of the posts are on Calm Water. He's reviewing it. I don't know if he's actually, been out yet to look at it. We've offered to go out with him, but he's been busy with some other things. So it's just it's a concern because, it's tough to get grants it's tough to get approval on
Yes.
anything.
Yes.
And this was just a huge step backwards. for-
Yeah. All right,
project.
so the person that had this confrontation, does everybody know who that is?
Like, I know his name, Lev knows his name. We did talk to some individuals that sort of know him personally and gave us some things on his background, but we don't know 100% if, we don't have proof saying, oh, we saw you do it, or it's on a deer cam
Yeah.
or anything like that. It's just.
But the police haven't approached that person and asked them questions?
I believe that the police were out with trail cams, but they haven't, the trail cams haven't gotten a clear picture of the individual, but I do believe the police may have
The
spoken
word
to
I
the
got
person.
is that the police asked this person to come in for an interview, and the person declined. And because they don't have the photographic evidence.
Yeah, they can't arrest them or detain them, right?
to Their next.
Well, you don't know has that deterred, has there been further damage after that person was identified?
I believe that the damage has stemmed in terms of once the police talk to the individual. We're just hesitant to go out and spend more money and putting in more posts if they're just going to continue to get, damaged or destroyed. So we don't know what the answer is other than just
Well,
waiting it out.
it's a lack of education. I think it's like, how could anybody think that a sign was a bad thing?
Right.
Are they worried? I'm just curious, is this person worried that more people will be attracted to the area? So I don't understand the objection.
There could be some sort of hatred towards handicapped people, because there's a little symbol of like a handicap.
Yeah, there were, when the post went up, the complete signage wasn't available yet, because it's being printed. But Terry Downey put up the adaptive mountain
Yeah.
cyclist symbol. So you can see, it's, the little person on the three-wheeler on the post, so people at least would have an idea what the posts are for. Because she made a route, like
Yeah.
the walking library
Yeah.
for adaptive cycling.
Yeah.
To go follow the route. And I think they did have on video somebody pulling those off of the signs, but we don't have anything of
Oh,
people
not
cutting.
the same person.
I think it's a group of three is
No.
our understanding, and they're
Do you think they
associates.
object to having bicycles in the area? Is that the point? I'm trying to,
All speculative.
yeah.
How big were the
The
signs?
signs she put in there were
they're
small,
small.
maybe 4 inches by 6
It's a
inches.
4x4 post.
Yeah, but they had a picture of a bicycle on them. So do you think people were worried that they don't want bicycles on the trail?
Yes, good hypothesis, could be.
Yeah. So, well, I think that's a good argument. Well, that's one of the good arguments that we should have about trying to identify some trails that can be just for bikes. I know people here even some of our committee members are not sure about sharing the pathways with other uses. So I understand there's that issue out there. People want to just walk. They don't want any bikes coming by them or any other use. But we don't have any we don't have any paths that are just for bikes, so it makes it, you have to share. Yeah.
I mean, it also falls upon the user to
Yeah, and I think that,
stay within the lines as
yeah,
well. So-
I think Frank has said before, and I know Lev has too, that your group is very conscious of that and has taught your members to be courteous and, not to have these confrontations and,
We talk about it at every meeting, and trying to split people up, I think, is difficult. I mean, Sandwich does have hiker-only trails, and then they said, okay, these are gonna be biker-only, and surprisingly enough, the hikers prefer the biking trails.
Yeah, right,
'Cause they're
exactly. That's what I was gonna
well-built,
say.
and they're better to, and we don't care, like, anybody can use it. as far
well,
as we're concerned.
therefore, it's a choice of the walker, though.
Yeah.
So, but if they want to be by themselves, they can be in the hiking-only trail.
Sure.
And
I think that happened because we were able to build new trails in Sandwich, and building new trails in Barnstable, let's face it.
I know, it's a little
I-
difficult.
Right.
Since you
Find that
mentioned
out.
this idea for West Barnstable, I was thinking about what that would look like. A lot of walkers really liked the wider trail. They can chat with each other.
Yep.
They're not brushing up against the ticks
Yep.
and all that. So if, say, the cart paths became hiker only, for example,
Yep,
the mountain biking activities on the other trails might need some connections if they're going to be, say, restricted from using the cart paths.
Yeah.
Which would be, I think, fine with a lot of mountain bikers. I don't think they really care for the wide cart paths. It's
Yeah.
not interesting
Yeah.
or challenging. So, if we look at the mapping and the network, maybe that's something we could talk about.
Yeah, and I think there's enough space for everyone. We have a very talented individual in our crew, and he does a lot of the mapping, and he's put down about 1,000 miles of trails on Cape Cod, and they're just
Yeah.
not they're everything for everyone.
Yeah.
So I think there's enough room for everybody, to spread out and find something. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, I agree, there is, a lot of trails and a lot of choices, but there are some hikers that really do not want to be bothered by bicycles. I wouldn't care. But I know people that do care. They're not sure themselves when they're walking in the woods anyway, and don't want bikes zooming by and things like that. So that person would choose a hiking only trail, and maybe you could have a majority of trails being multi-use, and have a hiker only trail and a biker only trail. And then the other ones can be multi-use. We might have to think in terms of that. So, but let's get the walking library done first before we add to these trails. But that's something you guys can think about. Yeah.
And then I think the last thing for me would be just an update on what a proposal, and I was here maybe in October, called the Boy Scout proposal.
Yeah,
This
that's,
was brought to us by a young man, and we just haven't had much luck getting this approved with conservation. It just seems to be, we're waiting on GIS, we're waiting on Tom Lee, we're waiting on legal, we're waiting on this, we're waiting on that. It just seems like they just want to just say, we're waiting on this until we go
you
away.
need to
and we
talk
just
to
say,
the town manager about that. You need to talk to the town manager and
And the four of us have walked it, and I think we all agree that there's some eroded trails that,
Yeah.
need to be,
Yeah.
slightly modified.
sounds to me like there's a safety issue involved, but the only person that's going to resolve this on the town level is the town manager. If you can convince him, then he will tell his staff what needs to be done. But it can't come from the bottom up. It has to go from the top down, I think. Don't you agree, Chris?
I do. I have to say that I haven't been quiet on this, but I did speak with Elizabeth Jenkins, who, as Director of Planning, is in charge over the Conservation Department or Division. And did she reach out to you by any
Yeah,
chance?
so I had a brief conversation with her this afternoon.
Thank you.
About this issue.
Okay.
So she's, I guess, going to bring herself up to speed and try to see if she can,
I told her, I asked her, she asked, what do you want me to do? I said, can you speak to Lev? Because as a member of our committee, I expect that this will be discussed. But I said, I'm not in charge of staff, so she
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
the obligation to see what's going on with the Conservation Division, her staff. And ultimately, if it's on conservation land, the Conservation Division and through Concom have the obligation to manage the property. So that's why I went to her. So
Yeah.
What do you think?
And-
Let's just say, Chris, do you have any idea what the holdup is? Like why they keep putting it off and not just having an answer?
It's a
for these
legal
guys?
issue, I think, that in their minds. Ownership issue, legal issues, liability issues. So one person has to make a decision.
And I believe what's clear is that the town has failed to properly manage these properties. And volunteer organizations like the New England Mountain Biking Association have stepped up where the town has failed.
Right.
And there is serious safety issues. Some of these trails are eroded 4 or 5 feet deep. There's rocks. It's a real problem. And it's the bureaucratic mess in this town is so bad, and it needs to be addressed.
Well, and the only person that's going to address that is the town manager, which is why I'm saying that that's where you have to start, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I think we were talking earlier about how there is a property manager of buildings, but there's no property manager of land. And it used to be the Conservation Department was in charge of land, but we are, I think, the second most regulatory conservation commission in the state. So, and most of their jobs by necessity is regulation, Water Protection Act, et cetera. So that's what they spend their time on. I know they do stewardship of properties, so I'm not taking that away from them. But there isn't the concentration that other towns have because there isn't the dedication monetarily and staff-wise dedicated to that, to land. And that's something the town council has to work on during their strategic planning, and the town manager has to manage. So I think it's above our pay grade, but we can certainly advocate, and I'm hoping that you will do so when you visit the town manager tomorrow.
Can I move that Doug reach out to Mark Ells? We'll schedule a walk with him?
I would be happy to.
You have had walks with Mark, don't have you?
Yes,
Yeah.
on the Treasure Trail. Just as an aside, I attended the Natural Resources segment of the local comprehensive plan, and I alerted Chris Nappy, who is the enforcement officer of renewed
ATV.
mountain, not mountain bikes, motorized vehicles on the Treasure Trail. And he's the enforcement agent. He, I believe, would be the person you would reach out to for the vandalism of the signs for the adaptive bicycle trails.
Well, he's-
I think he was in the loop initially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know he's been pretty aggressive on the enforcement of the motorized vehicles, so.
Yeah, one of our members wrote a white paper on the enforcement issue and shared it with many towns, and that's right before that effort came out.
Yeah, well,
So you might be interested in looking
Yeah.
at that.
I don't see any decreased use on the motorized vehicle. If anything, I see increased.
you have
motorized
seen
vehicles.
increase?
Yeah, so when you say they've made some headway towards that, what are you basing that on?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
When you say they've made some headway towards curbing the illegal,
He's been very aggressive about addressing it. Now, I don't know that he's been able to curb it. I was choosing my words.
He's trying.
I think Doug just said there was a renewal of it, so.
we actually had an individual in our club who reached out to the state because there's a fence that's opened up on Finney's Lane, and the motorbikes are going
Yeah.
through private property right onto Old Mealy Way, and they're just destroying the trail, and they've been very slow to respond.
They were there this summer, though. I spoke to the people from
This
Mass
was 6
Highway.
months ago, and it's-
Yeah.
the fence is still wide open.
Yeah. It's very difficult. I remember coming home from town council one night, and they all zoomed by me and went up on the right, opposite Mary Dunn, on that Mary Dunn
That's the
pond
hot
area.
spot.
And I called Chief McDonald at the time, and they sent people out, but by that time, they're gone.
Yeah, very high.
So, you know, how do you catch them? So cameras is how you catch them, and then you have cameras being destroyed on the trail,
Well,
so.
there's an effort in Falmouth now, they're
Hmm.
trying to ascertain the patterns, like maybe they come by Sunday at 2.
Yeah.
Then you can actually try to set
tell
up,
them.
because you have to, catch them at both ends, because they'll just turn around.
Yeah.
But you need to at least have that much information.
Yeah, and I think people have ideas of whose kids they are.
If you could do the drone and just follow them to their house,
Yeah,
that would solve that.
yeah. So we have to move on because we have a lot of stuff on this schedule. I did want to, while we're still talking pathways, Frank, if you have anything else you want to say, I'm sorry.
No, that covers me updating you on the NEMBA stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the Eagle Scout. I'm very disappointed about
You
that.
know, It's,
So-
it's ongoing.
Yeah, well, I got a communication from Sue Sullivan from Barnstable Land Trust today, and it was addressed to, Charlie, was it addressed to you? No, Lev and me, and I should send that around also. But it says, at the suggestion of Kelly Barber, Barnstable Land Trust Director of Land Stewardship, I wanted to introduce you all to Nancy McIver, Wellness Program Coach at Four Cs, who inquired about leading regular hikes on the trails surrounding the college campus, or asked if anyone could train her to lead regular hikes. Such a great idea. Unfortunately, Barnstable Land Trust doesn't have the capacity or expertise to help Nancy, but we immediately thought that either the Open Space Committee and/or Lev, who really was the trailblazer on those trails, might be better resources. I'm hoping that you may be able to connect and explore the possibilities. So I thought not only of Lev, but I also thought of Doug and Farley, and because you have all, and actually Chris, and anybody else that led walks, that you might be able to help her. And if I send this to you, would you get back in touch with her and we could talk about it here, or?
Here, and talking about, I started composing a reply, and I saw yours, but this is good that we're all talking now.
Yeah.
Because I always thought it'd be wonderful if staff at the college or students took up the reins of having a club or a
Yep.
weekly walk or whatever they would want to do.
Yeah, 'cause that's your future
We've been working
stewards.
with a college student who's gets a little sidetracked, but he'll occasionally go out and clip some briars and so forth. But having, a staff member on the college take this over and
It's your future stewards.
become stewards, because, there's a lot of stuff that, grows into the trail and.
Yeah. So they can be working on the trails and.
Exactly.
And making signs and they get chopped down.
I'd make a suggestion also. Cape Cod Healthcare works with the National Park Service for the Healthy Parks, Healthy People initiative, and at the Salt Palm Visitors Center. And I have attended those programs where they have a physician on the site, and when you go there, they take your vital readings before you do the hike and when you complete the hike.
That's what I need.
And it's Healthy Parks, Healthy People is the organization. So that might be someone to hook up with because Cape Cod Healthcare is the partner.
Oh, okay.
To establish that, and it could become a public thing, and they could do it both with students and members of the public. And they're at Salt Palm Visitors Center on Saturdays.
Well,
Good suggestion.
do you want to tell
Because-
Nancy about that when I send you this?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's a perfect collaboration, because then and they could even have a course at the college.
Yeah, I was wondering, don't they have a nursing program there? And so they'd be interested in showing up to take vitals and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
well,
was physicians when I went from Cape Cod Healthcare.
Yeah, well, for all we know, this is what she does.
What's
I
her
don't
name,
know.
Nancy?
I don't know what the wellness program coach does at Four Cs. So I'd like to move on because I have some good news, people.
Oh, good.
The conservation.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Fran. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Good work.
Don't be discouraged. Okay, conservation restrictions. The state, EEA, discovered Prince Ave CR in their pile of stuff, I guess, and said, I wonder why this hasn't been worked on in 100 years, and contacted our department and told our legal department that they don't know why it was set aside, but it was set aside, and they were working on it right away. And so our legal department said, while you're working on Prince Ave, we also have Harju and Amaral, and they are working on all three. So we should get that resolved very soon. It's enough to make me supportive of this administration. Then, Santuit Preserve, I am told, will have a management meeting in March. Faint, dead away, 2 things. All right, so that's my 2 good news. My bad news is I didn't do anything about the open space plan like I was supposed to. I told Jenna that I was going to look through the plan and just take excerpts of it and send you excerpts to look at, because there are sections that have bullet points for things we want to do, right? And that's what I want to send you rather than the whole thing, because we
I think
should
it's
talk.
section 9. that
Section
have
9, yeah.
The action items.
So,
Spreadsheet.
yeah, I'll send that around section 9. And so we can talk about it beginning next time, about what we need to tackle.
What's the time frame for,
Well, it was signed off in 2018, and it's a 7-year plan. So in 2025, we're going to have to start looking at it again, and we haven't done much on it. Our walking library is probably our biggest accomplishment. Also, conservation restrictions, so I think we've done a good job with that. So, I have nothing else.
I was thinking about conservation restrictions, we've had conversations. Is there some way we can encourage the information of what the restrictions are on the parcels so the public can see what public access there is, or is
Yeah.
there not? Because
well-
right now it goes on a map, it says there's a CR, but you'd have to go, I guess, to the deeds to find out,
Yeah.
okay, horses can go, but no pogo sticks, or,
Most conservation restrictions read about the same, and the only real difference is if there's a specific prohibition or an unusual access. And so they're pretty much the same, don't you think, Chris? So, and every time we talk here, we talk about what the allowed uses and the prohibited uses. And when we tell the town council that we suggest they approve it, we give them the reasons, and it would include the allowed use and prohibited uses.
so the public would have to be watching
Yeah.
or reading, but 2 years from now, that information would be hard to find.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a bad idea that maybe we could list our, we tried to do this once, list all our conservation restrictions, and I don't know if we ever were able to gather them all, but,
It might be useful to just, identify the properties that actually prohibit any access,
yeah,
just so that, people know right away that that's off limits.
yeah, that might be right, to which ones allow and which ones don't allow access.
Yeah, I mean, some of the properties would allow access, but there's no trails, I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it might be a long-term project. I'm thinking Alicia's mapping is a great tool for that, eventually.
And we also have a lot of conservation restrictions that were Oh,
Sorry. Yep.
yeah, well, she's very soft-spoken. Anyway. Where's I gonna, geez, I lost it that quickly.
CRs with no access, or we're talking
Yeah.
about,
Oh, we remember we had a whole bunch of conservation restrictions that came through that were part of a tax credit push.
Yep.
So there are a lot of private properties that decided that had excess acreage that wanted to pay less taxes on them, and so that doesn't allow public access, but it does preserve the vista or wildlife corridor or some other reason to promote it other than public access. But
I think that the CRs were listed in one of the appendices of the open space plan.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
as complete a list as we could get, and I don't think it's totally complete. I think what Lev is getting at, too, is that there are some conservation restrictions we're finding that allow public access, but for whatever reason, public access has been barred.
Yeah, now that we're talking about pathways and networks.
Yeah,
It'd be good to wrap our heads around, where are the missing links? Where are the problems that we can't go
yeah,
around?
yeah.
Right, right.
That information would be very helpful.
Yep.
Also continuing to reroute trails off of private property. That was one of the things that we did with the Treasure Trail by installing the boardwalk, was move that trail
Yeah.
off of private land.
Yeah, we have to identify that, and I think that's part of what GIS has been trying to do. And one of the holdups of some of this is that we do have identified pathways that are across public land or private property, and actually there's one private property that I'm aware of that they actually contacted the town and said, take down your kiosk, you're encouraging people to cross our property, and we won't allow it. So, and there's other properties that we have identified that people are using, and Leslie's property is one, and it has, but she says there is an easement, but the town doesn't have any evidence of that. So they're trying to find those pieces.
Yeah.
So Farley, do you have anything coming up with CPC?
CPC, let's see, we, just reviewing my notes from our last meeting, which was on January 22nd. So they said the Centerville, Osterville, Marston's Mills Water District approved the CPC application, so that they're going to have that little pocket of money in case they need to purchase land.
Yeah.
And I guess Lindsay and Tom Lee are going to meet with Water to discuss projects.
With who?
With the Water District group.
COMM.
Yeah.
Oh, COMM. Oh, so that is, so there are 5 water districts, right? So are all 5 coming to,
No, I think it's just COMM.
so, well, Barnstable doesn't understand that this is a pocket of money that they could get, and Katuitt doesn't understand there's a pocket of money that they can get?
Yeah, well, this
Have you
is,
opened up
you
a
know-
can of worms, or what?
You're asking great questions.
I wasn't
I have
there, I
no
should have asked
answers.
them at the
Yeah,
time, right?
Yeah. Wheeler Road grant was awarded to the town of Barnstable and accepted by the town council on December 7th, 2023. The Mills property in Mashpee, the CR to be granted to the Mass Division of Fish and Wildlife, forwarded to the town council for final review and approval. And
Nothing else has happened?
there are no letters of intent and no applications at this time.
Okay.
There you have it.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
On the Wheeler Road property, has that been finalized?
Well,
The
Yes.
acquisition of the,
it was accepted by the town council, the grant, So I don't know how, I don't know. if you
The
have
conservation
any-
restriction is still at the state to be approved,
Okay,
but we expect that one to be no problem.
okay.
So, Chris, do you have anything to report to us?
No, except that I had been in touch with
Thank you for doing that.
Elizabeth to just get an understanding on what the issue is. And I also realize that with some conservation property, they might want no trails. It's for watershed protection or,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. There was one that I was thinking of, that we actually specifically put in that there would be public access allowed through the trails that already existed, but a water district is saying that they, for safety reasons, are not allowing the public to access the trails. So that's a little, so how do you deal with that, you know? So.
Right.
that's it, though.
So we're 10 of. So there's anything anybody else wants to say? We are glad Phyllis is back. Phyllis, if you're watching, we're glad you're back home.
Oh, good. Yay.
So we miss you.
I was thinking about her this evening.
Yeah, you were? That's good. I think
Yeah.
about her almost every day.
Yeah.
So,
So just to underscore the notion that Spring Walking Weekend is coming up.
Oh,
And it'll
good.
be May 17th through the 19th. And so get your thinking caps on for ideas. We're definitely looking forward to some geocaching and
Yes, so I'll
that kind
let
of stuff.
Cassie know
Yeah,
to start thinking about that.
okay. Yeah, so we
also,
get
if
the
you
wheels
have
turning.
things to add to the geocaching website, send that through me too.
So I worked with Cassie to come up with some language to tell people what it's all about.
Yep.
And I sent it to,
Me and Jenna together.
and then what happened?
It has stalled out for a little bit just to make sure that there are no conflicts, including that on the website. So I have checked in about it a couple times, and I will keep checking in about it until I get an answer.
So what kind of conflicts are anticipated? I'm not too sure I understand conflicts.
I
when
guess
it comes-
potentially because it's an activity, but it's associated with
Another
a
group.
company or, yeah, so I just am waiting to make sure that
Big
it's all
brother.
fine to have on there.
Yeah, well, there was some talk of contributions, and we can't ask for contributions, but we can refer people to the website, and,
I did notice in other towns, in Mashpee, they do mention the program and
Okay.
the company.
so maybe
on-
that should
on
be
their-
pointed out,
On their
Jenna.
walking map, so
Yeah.
Oh, great.
it's
Yeah.
been precedented in other towns, but maybe we can catch up.
Yeah, all right, you're going to talk to me tomorrow anyway, right? Yeah, okay.
and the geocaching PowerPoint presentation is on the web under meeting materials.
Okay, yep.
Yeah,
If anybody wanted to look.
All right.
yeah, I think that's what you mentioned, that it was part of our, what do you call it?
Presentation.
Fiche.
Laserfiche, yep.
Yeah,
Meeting
Laserfiche.
materials.
So it's there. All right, so anybody else have anything else they want to talk about?
Move to adjourn?
Oh, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Not